Hi, welcome back to Wallflowers. Well, what did we say the other day about the war's going to get intensified? But didn't expect it to go this way. What a day for news today. Just done a little bit of research, but everything that I've seen or heard or read hasn't come from any mainstream media. We haven't watched any mainstream media about this. It's all come from the people that are there, their news agencies and stuff from both sides. So today, woke up this morning, 4 o'clock, I read that the Wagner group, who are part of the Russian fighting forces in Ukraine, have took over a city in Russia. They've gone rogue and are going against Vladimir Putin. So they took over Rostov this morning. So things have escalated since then. So I've just got a few notes. So the Wagner leader, the Wagner group, they're like a group of mercenaries. They've been doing a lot of the fighting on the front lines of Ukraine. They've been having a lot of success for Russia, and they're a private company really, with board of directors, CEOs. So the main CEO really is Yevgeny Prigozhin. So he's like the CEO of this group, and they've been doing a lot of the fighting, as I say, in Ukraine. So a couple of months ago, they were on the front lines in Ukraine, and this Prigozhin said he was going to pull the forces out of the front line of Ukraine, and they're the ones that are doing mainly the most of the fighting on the front line. So he threatened to pull all the forces out and march them back to Russia, because they weren't getting the supplies, they weren't getting the ammunition, they weren't getting the food, the water, the tanks, everything. And then Putin got involved and he'd resolved it. So this was about 2 months ago. So there was already a bit of a break there, some cracks showing. So that got resolved, so they carried on fighting. And then there was a meeting 1 week ago between Prigozhin and Putin about prolonging the contract in Ukraine between the Wagner Group and the Russian Ministry of Defence. Now, Putin insisted for the Ministry of Defence to keep supplying them and to keep paying them, they would have to sign up a contract to sign up to be part of the Russian army. And Prigozhin said, no chance. We're an independent group. They're like a security force kind of thing, independent. And he said, no chance. They're not signing up to Russia. They're staying on their own. So the contract was cancelled between them then. So that's probably the start of what's happened today. So, just let me get my notes. So, a couple of days ago, after that meeting, when they said that the contract had been cancelled, Wagner were fighting the Ukrainian forces on the front line, and they were getting backed up by Russian military helicopters and airplanes. And as they were fighting, a bomb or missile or something hit the Wagner group by mistake, supposedly, or was it on purpose? And it killed a lot of the Wagner fighters. Now, Prigozhin was fuming over this, and he called on the Ministry of Defence leader, Kadyrov, to be put on trial for killing his men. And Putin didn't want to know. So that's probably where this has all come from now today, that Prigozhin is marching, what he says, to Moscow for the arrest of Kadyrov and to be put on trial. Now he says this is not a coup, it's a march of freedom, a march for justice. Now Putin has accused them of treason now and said that he wants Prigozhin killed or at least arrested. Now Prigozhin said that they're not going to lay down their arms and they're going to keep going to Moscow. They're going to march to Moscow. So this could be the start of a civil war in Russia. So let's get back. About an hour ago I saw a video of a Wagner armoured convoy destroyed a checkpoint set up by the Russian army on the highway near the Ikarets River south of Rostov. So the Russian army set this checkpoint up and they've gone straight through it without stopping, marching to Moscow with this convoy, armoured convoy. They've also been trying to shoot down any Russian helicopters and planes that are in the air as well and that come close to them, so they're trying to shoot them down. But another thing that I found out just by doing some research, the Fontanka News Agency reported on the 24th of June, the Fontanka News Agency, there must be a local news agency over there.
In Russia?
Yeah. At 12:30 p.m. on the 24th of June, reported that a lorry full of boxes arrived in the yard of the Trzini Hotel near to Prigozhin's office. Officers of the Wagner group were seen unloading the wagon, which consisted of a load of cardboard boxes 60 centimetres by 40 centimetres approximately from the lorry. The reporter said there was 8 boxes already on the ground and some were already open, and he could clearly see that they were filled with bundles of Russian banknotes, mostly red, similar to 5,000 ruble notes. So where's that money come from?
So how many were there? How many was there?
It was a lorry load of cardboard boxes full of Russian rubles being paid to this Prigozhin. Now who's paying him? Because it certainly wasn't Putin, because he's fallen out with them and they've cancelled the contract of the MOD. So another thing that I've found out is the World Economic Forum could be behind this, because their partner BlackRock is run by a lady called Susan Wagner. Coincidence? She had a meeting with Zelensky last week. So whether the WEF are getting involved and are paying off Prigozhin to attack Russia for favours in the future, who knows. But as we were saying in the video a couple of days ago on the interest rate rise, about history has a habit of repeating itself, and we were going back 100 years about the war, the pandemic, the economy crashing, the Great Depression, and we seem to have all that now. So in 1917, the Russian army was defeating Germany in the First World War, only for the politics behind the scenes, the backstabbing, which led to the Russian army being destroyed and Russians turning on Russians, which led to the disintegration of the army and the state and the loss of territories due to a civil war. Now, it seems to be coming round again, another civil war. And the people that profited back then was the West again, by dividing up the country and the territories, and Russia took a long time to get over that. Now, as Russia was getting stronger and stronger again, this seems to happen again.
And it's all the other countries, isn't it? It's like a domino effect,
Yeah.
isn't it? It'll affect all them others.
Yeah.
What are they called? The BRIC countries.
Yeah, it's just a domino effect, isn't it? The knock-on effect of all the other territories around that area. Supposedly Poland's army are on red alert straight away. And Poland's part of NATO, so if anything happens there, then we'll have to go in, because they are a NATO country, and we have to back a NATO country. So this could be the start of the war, as we've been saying for the last few months, that it's only going to intensify. But
It's just a coincidence that's exactly what happened 100
yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
Oh, well,
And
it's not a coincidence. It's
Yeah.
it's a pattern, isn't it?
It just seems to, they fell out last week, then they get bombed by Russia, then they turn on Russia. A lorry turns up with a load of money being paid to them, maybe from the World Economic Forum, Susan Wagner and the Wagner Group. Then they turn on Russia. They're marching to Moscow now. That was an hour ago I was seeing that they'd gone onto the highway. They were about 300 or 400 kilometres away from Moscow, but they reckon they could be there by tonight.
You have to just say at this point, though, this is you piecing together the information in your mindset of what we're coming across.
Yeah, this is coming from like Wagner news agencies and Russian news agencies, not anything off the mainstream media. But I just thought I'd share that, things that I found out. Not scaremongering, not clickbaiting, just things that I found out just by doing a little bit of research for the last couple of hours. Okay, thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.